Hello, welcome to our last example for lesson 14 about dollar decimal operations. So this is very similar to example 2, which is division. The only difference is that we now have more friends and more money. So we're spending a total of $276, and we are equally sharing that among 11 friends and ourselves. So altogether, that's 12 people. So I'm going to divide by 12 people, the $276, and I'm going to put the decimal in the zeros because I'm pretty confident that 12 doesn't make 276, so there will be some pennies and dimes. All right, so whenever you're doing division, it's always helpful to do a list of multiples to make sure that you are able to compare the best possible number to what you're dividing. So I'm going to list out my 12s, 12, 24, 36, 48, 62, 84, 96, and 108. The next one would be 120, which looks just like 12, but with a 0. And so I know that I need to stop before that. I only need 9 of them to be able to fit. All right, so 12 going into 2. 2 is too small, and so that is a 0. Sorry, I need to get some water. 12 going into 27. Well, the closest to 27 looks like 24, and that one's less. The next one is bigger than 27, so I can't use that one. So it's for sure 24. That goes below, and then I need to count 1, 2. 2 goes on top above the 7. And now I'm going to subtract to see what's left over. All right, we've got a 3 left over in that place value, which is less than 12. So I can bring down the next number. Oh, I was totally wrong. Sorry about that. Well, I'm not totally sorry, but it's always good to be prepared. 36 is actually in our list. And so I'm going to circle the 36 and put it underneath. And then say 1, 2, 3 of them goes on top. So 3 times 12 is 36. We take away. And we're actually done after this point because our remainder is 0, and all we have left are zeros. And so I'm actually going to say that I'm going to put dot 0, 0 at the end, and that will account for a 0 remainder still. If this had not been a 0, I would have kept going until I get a 0 remainder, even if that means I go beyond the pennies. You might think, well, there's nothing past the 0, but there's as many zeros as you need. So if you do get into a bind, you can always add more zeros at the end after you have a decimal point. All right, so our answer is $23. Each person needs to spend $23 in order for all 12 of us to get to $276. But now let's prove that. So since 23 is a whole number, I don't have to work with the decimals, but I'm still going to, just to show how to work with it anyway. So 23.00 multiplied by 12. Now, something you need to remember is that when you multiply with decimals, the decimals don't need to line up. In other words, the 12 doesn't need to be underneath the 23 because we need to remember that the 12 is multiplying by everything, not just the whole. And so I'm putting it over here to remind myself that each digit is going to be multiplied by the 2, and each digit is going to be multiplied by the 1 in the tens place. All right, so let's actually start with the 2. And I'm going to do that actually in green. So 2 times 0, 0, 2 times 0 again, 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. So all of this row comes from multiplying by the 2. Now there's 1, 2 places for the decimal because there's nothing from the whole. And we're moving on to the next place value. So I'm going to cross out everything that has to do with this place value, which is the 2 itself and the extra place value down here. Remember that what I had mentioned in the previous video is if this is really like a 10, not a 1. It's 1 in the tens place. So when I multiply by it, I need to think of it like multiplying by 10. But once I put the 0, then I can think of it like a 1 again. So 1 times 0, 1 times 0. Notice now I have 3 zeros, not 2, because of this placeholder. And then 1 times 3, and 1 times 2. And there's, again, 2 places for decimals. And so I'm going to add those answers together. And I get 0, 0, 6, 7, and 2. $276. And there we go. So I'm going to show it one more time in Lattice Method, just show it so you see what it looks like, but I'm going to pause the video so you're going to see it instantly there. All right, so as you can see, I have 2 zeros here, and a very common mistake is that when you're multiplying by 0, you sometimes accidentally think of it like a 1. Make sure that you put a bunch of zeros if you're going to multiply by zeros. The whole column would be zeros. And then there's a decimal at the very bottom because this is a whole number. So those meet right here, and so the decimal is here. And then everything else looks the same, $276.00. So this checks out that our division answer was correct. I'm going to write the sentence answer, and then I'll put that as the image that you'll see in this space, which will include the problem number, which is example 4, the expression, which I don't have space in here for, but I'll make sure that I put space. And then it has 2 calculations. I actually have 3, but you'll only need to do 2, the division and one of the ways to check. And it's up to you which way.